Hey there, Kyle Souza here for another episode of Grumpy Young Man. I've been a bit distracted with family stuff around the holidays, but something egregious happened yesterday. On Capitol Hill, protesters, turned into rioters, stormed the castle, so to speak, and breached the Capitol building. Were very disrespectful, and there's a lot of contention about it. Some people say it's a bad thing, some people say it's a good thing. Some people say they were Trump supporters because they were wearing MAGA hats and waving Trump flags and saying that they supported Trump, and other people are saying that they were subversive activists such as Antifa who were there strictly to be pretenders and incite violence. So here's my solution. If you are starting to do something illegal, you get either A, arrested, or if they can't arrest you, physically hurt. Because that's what happens in every other law-breaking situation. Every single time somebody breaks the law in front of an officer, they are either arrested or physically hurt. Why didn't that happen? I don't understand why they didn't do that. If I go up to a police officer today and start pushing them in Houston, Texas, I get shoved to the ground, handcuffed, thrown in the back of a car, and arrested. Why were officers not throwing punches? Why were they not spraying them with mace? Why didn't they all pull out their guns and open fire on everyone who was attacking them, who was breaching the building, who was threatening the safety of the law-abiding citizens that were present? Why didn't that happen? That's what I want to know. I care about that more than I care about the breaching of the Capitol. I really do. I want to know why these protesters were treated differently. Because either it is the pinnacle of racism, like some people are saying when comparing these protesters to the Black Lives Matter protesters, or this was a completely premeditated and orchestrated event. And I think that both those options are bad. And both those options are scarier to me than that people wanted to storm the Capitol. That people want to be hateful. That people want to be subversive and manipulative. I think those two things are worse than people demanding to see their congressmen and women. And they should not get violent when doing so. That is terrible. There's multiple terrible things here. But I am very confused by one of those terrible things. Because if you want to say it's racism, okay. I can understand that logically. Like, I don't get it. I don't agree with it. But it's an explanation that I could say, oh, because of racism, this. What I can't say in my mind logically is, well, because they were Trump supporters and not because of racism, they were treated differently. Or because it was D.C. and not other cities, they were treated differently. Or because of anything other than racism and a purposefully orchestrated charade. Those are the only things that make sense here. Why didn't the police react like police? If they did, then everybody would have won. Okay, not everybody. 99.9% of the country would have won. The people who got shot, they would have lost. Maybe they would have won too, depending on what they believe and what their goal was and what happened to them after they got shot. Maybe they still would have won, at least in some people's minds. But here's why I say everybody would have won. Because if they were Trump supporters, and they showed with their actions that they were not the party of law and order, that they did not respect the police, that they were willing to break the laws, that they were being anti-American, and they got put down either by being handcuffed and arrested or maced or even shot, then we would have won, because those bad apples would have gotten taken out. Let's say they were subversive elements. Let's say that they were imposters, antagonizing the crowd and inciting them to violence. They would have got taken out also. Those bad apples would have got taken out. Either way, the bad apples would have gotten taken out. Either way, the problem would have been dealt with. And you know what? It would have been hard on the officers. I cannot discount that. I am not in their shoes. They may have been scared because they were overwhelmed with numbers, which is a whole other issue. Why were there so few of them? But the fact remains that if they had done what I see police officers doing so often, which is take care of the problem by either arresting the violent person, subduing them, or killing them. If they had done that, then we would have had a very different, a much more fair, and in my opinion, just outcome to yesterday's events. I would love to hear what you think, though, especially if you disagree with me. I don't care to hear flyby comments. You can still put them. I can't stop you from commenting. But I don't care to hear someone who's going to say something ridiculous and unsupported and not stick around for a conversation and be logical and reasonable. But you're still welcome to put those unreasonable, illogical, unsupported comments on wherever you comment on your podcasts. And if you do agree with me, I'd love to hear from you too. If you do agree with me, please subscribe to this podcast. If this was in any way informative or amusing, please share it with somebody. And this is ridiculous. I'm Kyle Souza, a very grumpy young man. For more, you can check out my blog at thetalkinggeek.com. Have a good night.